ready. Got my hat on.
Looks good.
Looks good.
Yeah.
You like that? All right. Welcome to On The Sideline. I'm your host, Jeff Holden. Today, we are here with Big O,
your favorite guy,
Coach Evan Hearn, and special guest and man of the hour, state champion, Coach Brady Carney.
I'm here. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, listen to all your fans, Coach.
Yeah, there they are.
I'm so proud of you. You hit the right button on the first try.
Thank you. Been practicing.
Yeah, he's got this down.
We'll jump right into it.
Okay.
For people who may not know who you are, tell us who you are, what you're about, and all that good stuff.
Man, Brady Carney, head coach AD at Muenster, Texas. Been there now, this will be my 16th year. Got a wonderful daughter, Addie Carney, son, Kason Carney, and my wife, Brady Carney. Man, been coaching now. I guess this will be my 25th year overall, something like that.
Wow.
I'm getting old, approaching 50. So, in half a century, I'll be there before I know it. So.
All right, so as you know, we're here. This is our second go round, second season of the 940 football preview, something we put together. We appreciate you coming in,
Of course.
making the trip from Muenster and bringing us goodies.
You bet. Brought you a little something from Fisher's.
Yes, and we're excited about that. But football's a king in the state of Texas.
Sure.
And we getting started a little early this year, so
good.
we'll just fire some shots at you, and you answer how you see fit.
I guess the first thing, let's talk. let's start with. We have to have a recap from last year.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about last year's football season. You guys had an unbelievable run last year, of course, with winning state, of course. So how did it feel last year on the run that you guys were on? Kind of at what part of the season did you guys feel that you guys had a really good shot of going all the way?
Man, I thought after the holiday game, we were able to move the football on a really good football team. We hadn't been able to do that in a few years against the Pottsboroughs and Holidays and Jacksboroughs, all those big schools we play. So coming out of that game, we didn't win it. Gave up a pick six and a kickoff return, but I thought we were able to move the football on offense and did some good things on defense. But, man, they were talented. But I knew after the holiday game we had a pretty good group. Carried that into Windthorst. The second half we really exploded on those guys, and then Pottsboro played them really tough, should have won that one. But, man, at that point in the season I knew we had a shot to be a pretty good football team. I thought we played good football throughout district. But I thought we really played our best football starting the first round of the playoffs. I thought that's when we really came together. Thought we had a really good run through those first 6 games of the playoffs. But no, early in the season, like the Holidays and the Windthorst and Pottsboro De Leon, I thought at that point we had a good football team.
Yeah, and you mentioned, it's funny you mentioned Holiday.
Yeah.
I actually went to that game. It was the first time I got to see you guys play. And I came back and told these guys, I said, man, I think they can, they're going to have a very deep run in the playoffs, if not do it all.
Yeah.
And that was after y'all lost to Holiday.
Sure.
But just because knowing, how good Holiday always is, like you mentioned.
Exactly.
But you guys stuck with them and just a few mistakes away.
Yeah.
And then there you go. So
Yeah, so I watched that game. I actually tuned in online. I watched it online. The Holiday game, I think for me that's when I said, okay, Muenster's legit. Because I really feel like that's a game that you guys had. It could have been won.
Sure.
Especially when it's just late turnovers, And then I was like, dang, they just turned them away. They just turned them back over. I was like, so it was one of those situations, the momentum, it was just kind of like a shifting of momentums. But I knew then, I said, these kids are hungry. They can play.
Sure.
Because a lot of times when you have the bigger classifications play the smaller, kids tend to be a little more timid.
Yes.
They don't play to their capability. But that was a game that I noticed. And then how you guys bounced back the following week when you played Windthorst, I was like, okay. Yeah, because I was like, Windthorst wasn't a slouch. And I was just like, it was just dominant. It was a dominant fashion. So I think that's probably when I realized that it was going to be a good season. And then I didn't realize that you guys had as much size as Muenster had with receivers and some D linemen. You kind of were a well-rounded team with size, speed, had a little bit of strength, had a little bit of everything, and those are all key components of what you need to win a state title.
Yeah, and I agree. Like we talked about, and Jeff mentioned he was at the game, and so he came away saying Holiday won it, but Muenster had a chance to win it, and I think you guys opened up a lot of eyes, as you said, and then to come back, as O just mentioned, taking my take, come back the next week, not letting one loss beat you, or not letting one loss catapult into another loss, playing Windthorst at home, and you guys just went out there in dominant fashion and did the things you did, and so, hats off to you, and like we talked about earlier before the show, just watching you guys play in the state semifinals, man, you guys were, as you said, rolling in the district, and then that state semifinals game, you guys were on a mission. And so going into the state title game, we were rooting you guys on, obviously, for the 9-4 area. But, man, the city and people of Muenster and Coach, congratulations on the fantastic year last year.
Thank you. And that was another thing, like you talked about, I thought in years past, because our success has kind of forced us to have to schedule how we schedule. And there was times, a few years ago where we couldn't handle those losses, where we would, I didn't feel like we could bounce back from them, where I thought this team did that. They knew, no one wants to lose. That's not why we coach the game. We don't coach to lose. But play a team like Holiday, who's traditionally just very good football program, and had our chances, had a few turnovers, like you said, gave up a big kick return. But, man, just to see the fight that we had the next week, again, went in and played Pottsboro really close, had our chance against Pottsboro, who's always a good 3A Division I team, and then bounced back against De Leon. I could see that the kids had some fight in them, and that was another thing that kind of opened my eyes a little bit.
Yeah, so I guess we all know the outcome of last year, but will you break down your season last year, how you ended up, like record-wise, and then touch on the differences moving into this year's schedule?
Okay, so, yeah, as far as last year, 14-2 in state champs.
Yep.
Of course, our schedule stays the same this year. Everything stays the same for 2 years. So we got the same tough schedule coming up.
You say that, and real quick, I'll interrupt you. We talked, I know, with Coach Nolan from Wichita Christian. He mentioned how they were state champs, and then he had 5 teams change their schedule on him. So I didn't know if I know it's a 2-year gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know if there was any kind of changes or.
That may be, I don't know exactly how the private school sector works, but for the UIL schools that usually when you agree to play 2 years, you take that 2 years. And if that means you get a butt whipping for 2 years, so be it. But that's the way it is.
So talking about that non-district schedule, you guys had Holiday at home last year on a Thursday night, I believe.
We did, yeah. We had to change. You know how it is with the officials. Yeah.
So this year, now you got to go to Holiday. Obviously, that place is a nest.
Sure.
Get that? No. Okay, never mind. Over you guys' head.
A bird's nest. A bird's nest because
they're the Eagles. There we go. All right. But anyways,
you got the Hornets nest too.
That's
That's
why I was confused.
My one,
Like,
because they're the nest.
he didn't know. He don't know no better.
So that
Anyway,
was over here.
okay. So, I know Will, you've already mentioned it, but talk about now taking upon that role, maybe going to win that game on the road.
Man, like I said earlier, that's always our goal. But you travel into a place like Holiday, it's going to be tough. And they lost some really good players, and so did we. So you know how it is. You got to find those pieces that fit into those seniors that you lost. And it's game 2 of the season. They're going to be looking to fill some holes, and so are we. So whoever can put it together, I guess, the quickest that night may have a chance to come out on top. But, it's one of those things. It's only going to make us better, win or lose, just like it did last year. Anytime you get to play somebody like that.
So let's talk about personnel for a sec.
Sure.
Who are some of those players that you lost last season? How many are you guys returning, and who's going to be some key pieces for this football season?
Man, we lost some really good players. You talked about it earlier. Tate Sampson at Mike linebacker, Caden Clement, Logan Felucci, Landon Hawker. The list goes, Zach Smith. The list goes on and on of 12 guys. Sam De La Mata was a huge piece for us as far as our kicker goes. And anybody that's been around football, they know how important special teams are and having that ability, especially at the 2A level, because it's not like we're rolling kickers through there right and left. We can't go plug them out of the hallway. But we lost some really big pieces. And the main thing we lost, not just great players, but I'm telling you, that was one of the better senior groups of leaders and teammates I'd ever had as a coach. They were just so unselfish. Whatever we needed them to do, they did. Caden Clement, he was a quarterback, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, I think. Junior year, he moved into the tight end role, receiver role. Didn't get to touch the ball nearly as much as what he did as a young kid, but he never second guessed what we were doing. He just gave us everything he had. And it's just their ability to lead and how they treated their teammates. Logan Flushy, which you guys may not know, but he was our deep snapper, number 64. Man, what a great teammate he was. He didn't play a lot, but he played a lot of special teams, and he was. I'm telling you right now, if there's an all-state deep snapper in 2A, it would have been Logan Flushy. I don't know if we had a bad snap all year. First guy down the field, but man, just losing those dudes and what they meant to us, not just talent-wise, but leadership-wise, and you know what I'm talking about as a coach, group of seniors that are unselfish. But yeah, man, coming back, we got a good group of kids, and I know I'm gonna forget somebody. Garrett Hess as a tight end, a wide receiver, and a defensive end, and an outstanding player, first-team All-State kid. Kyle Liddell is our center; he's our anchor on the O-line, has everything down. He communicates, gets everybody set, does a tremendous job. And he's also going to play a lot more D-tackle for us. You know, Kyle's a great player. Rhett Walterscheid, we lost Rhett, number 55 in week 8, tore his knee up. So he's been rehabbing. He's an exceptional player. We got him back. Kaysen's back at quarterback. Nolan Peel, Legend Bounds, Jake Wheeler, Simon Johnson, Mason Mills. Man, the list goes on of guys we got back. You talked about earlier, Dustin Croft, Maverick Byer, number 21, who I know you guys love too, as a punt returner and receiver. So, man,
Clutch
the list.
Punt return in that state game. That was clutch.
It was clutch, and he had one the week before.
Talk about special teams.
over there.
Yeah,
Against Groover.
Yeah, he can move.
Fearless, man. It was one of those things we talked about in practice every day because, man, he didn't care where the ball was. He's going to catch it, and he's going to take off. And there's sometimes you need to fair catch it. But not mad, man. That sucker's hauling butt, and he's catching it, he's going.
He plays corner too, right?
Plays some safety and corner for us too.
Yeah, he definitely has that primetime swag. He's gonna look good, play good.
Rare's 21 for a reason.
Yeah. So, Coach, I had a question.
Sure.
Your kicker,
Sam,
was he a foreign exchange student?
foreign exchange student.
Let me tell you at the game against Grover, I'll never forget that their fans used to get to say "ole, ole," and dude, he'd be boom. I'm like, this dude can kick.
Yeah, he kick.
Like, I mean, this is not a typical 2A.
No.
I'm talking like he could kick at the 6A level. Like, he could kick. Like, this kid was. I would hate for him to get mad at somebody and kick him because you're going to sleep. Because he could put the ball wherever you guys asked him to. I remember when you guys were getting ready to kick a field goal in that game, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, we sat and talked about it on the side. We were like, do they really have a kicker?
I was like, they're not finna try this. And he knocked it. It was just like a warm-up.
It was like a 38-yard field goal.
Yeah,
or
like it was
crazy.
nothing. It was easy. He just kicked it like, I was like, he got so much room. So to give him, what was his farthest kick that he kicked this season?
You know, probably if y'all were talking about that 38 to 40.
Yeah.
But I think he ended the season like 92 for 95 on his PATs.
How about say
Anytime you approach 100 on your PATs is pretty exceptional.
Yeah.
In 17, we had a kid, Trey McTaggart, that hit 100 in 17, and he was a national record type kid. But
100%?
No, 100 PATs on the season. So, I mean, that's a lot of scoring.
That's a lot
of PATs.
Yeah.
But Sam was like 92 for 95, missed maybe the first one of the season because he'd never played football as far as kicking. He just came to us. His family has ties to Muenster. He actually went to school here his 5th grade year too. The whole family moved over from Spain for a year and went to school here. He went back, came back to us, been playing soccer. And, of course, we love soccer players as far as kickers. And came in and, man, we put him to work the very first day. And that's all he did during practice. He didn't do anything else. He worked on his onside kicks, which you guys saw his onside kicks.
Yeah.
Like his surprise onside kick in the state game, and we had done it 2 or 3 times. I mean, in practice, it's spot on. It is taking a hop and 11 yards. They got one guy there that's retreating, and it was every day in practice that we worked on it that we got it. You know?
When you got him and just a deep snapper, they can get a lot of work in.
And that's what they did. Yeah, Logan, he played a little outside linebacker and guard, but, you saw him on the sideline. Anytime he knew he was fixing to go in, he was over there getting snaps in.
I was like, golly, who's the special teams coordinator? He's getting
Locked in.
Yeah.
So we talk about some of your guys you lost, some of the guys returning. Do you have any younger kids, 8th graders, or anybody that might be stepping in, might get a little chance to play?
So I think we got one freshman we're looking at right now. Actually, Coach Barron's son, our offensive line, defensive line coach. Braxton he'll be a freshman. He's probably right at 6 foot, 200 pounds, strong, fast. Kind kind of working him during the summer with the varsity guys. We feel like he can help us a little bit. Other than that, we got some sophomores that'll be moving up, like a kid by the name of Brady Clement. Y'all are going to see him one night, and you're going to think, what's going on? Because he's like 5'5", 150 pounds. But, I heard y'all talking to Coach Sherrill. I'm going to call Brady a dog because that's what we use. All right? We use dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brady's a dog. He is just, man, it's 110% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he doesn't stand 5'5", 150, but he will bring it every single play. So looking for guys like Brady Clement, sophomore Brody Baggs will help us out somewhere, whether he's a tight end guard, D end. Of course, Dustin Croft, which we talked about, he was a big key for us last year during the playoffs. He'll be a sophomore playing some tight end, running back, and then he'll be playing defensive end on the defensive side. I'm trying to think, man. Those guys stand out more than anybody as far as coming in. Zadok Schilling, but all those guys played for us last year. But as far as freshmen, Braxton Barron may be one of them that we need to lean on. But we got a pretty talented freshman class, but I don't think we're going to need them up just yet.
Yeah. And another, I guess, real quick, any coaching changes for the Muenster Hornets?
No,
this year?
that's one of the things, man. I'll tell you right now, and Coach over here understands that. I've had some guys with me like Coach Wheeler. He's one of my OCs and does some calling. My head baseball coach, he's been with me for 10. Coach Johnson's been with me basically for 7. Coach Barron's going on 3. Coach McDaniel's going on 5. Anderley on 3. Got to add another Winthorst kid. So I got Wes Johnson, Quinn Barron, and now Macaulay Bowen. Those are all Winthorst kids or men that are on my staff. I got to hire him. Coach Cabot's the best basketball coach in the state, and he's a really good football coach too. So got all those guys back and got to add another one. And I'm telling you, I'm very fortunate to have the staff that I do in 2A football. I would put them up against anybody on any Friday night. Excellent game planners. They coach kids. They're not out there just to, chew somebody's butt every day. They're out there to help them get better and teach them how to play the game and be better men and sons and husbands one day, just trying to help boys grow into great men.
One thing I will say, when we were at the Grover game, I pay attention to coaches, how coaches coach. I'm an energy guy. I love coaches there. And when I tell you that Muenster coaches have energy, it has to be the D-line coach, man. He that dude there. Or what's the bigger guy? He's kind of like
that's probably my DC, Coach Johnson.
Man.
Yeah. Coach Johnson's my DC.
Say.
No, hey.
This dude here, my type of coach.
Yeah, no, Coach Johnson. He
like old school. Like he get on them, pick them up, teach them what he needs to teach them. But I guarantee when his voice is raised, those kids, they respond.
They're going to listen. Yeah, they're going to listen. They're going to respond.
Like
bet.
One time he spoke about an assignment, and after that he was like, "Why you just?" Then he went back to calm voice. Why you just couldn't do it like that the whole time? I was like, I love those type of coaches, and then just everybody feeding off each other. It wasn't everybody's locked in. Sometimes you see on the coaching staffs where, I coach the offense, I coach the defense, but I'm not in tune to what's going on with my set. Everybody was in tune the whole game. I seen defensive coaches running up, high-fiving the kids after they score and different things like that. And to me, those are the programs that are successful because we make it about team and not individuals and what we coach. So shout out to the coaches I noticed that at that game.
Appreciate it. And that's part of being in a small school. At a bigger school, a lot of times you get split staffs where one's offense, one defense. For our guys, for us, first thing we do on Saturday morning, all 7 or 8 of us, we sit down and we break down the defensive side of stuff, and we do a productivity chart for defense. But we all do it together because every coach coaches a position on offense and defense. You know what I'm saying? So just because Coach Wheeler's my offensive coordinator and Coach Anderley, well, Coach Anderley's a D-tackle coach and Coach Wheeler's my D-end coach. And it floats that way everywhere. Coach McDaniel's my wide receiver coach, but he's also my DB coach. So, no, that's just the way it is in a small school, and I'm very fortunate to have a group of guys that do get along and do listen to each other. It's not a constant fight on Saturday and Sunday. It's what do you have to offer, and then let's listen and figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we have, different questions that we kind of jot down,
Sure.
And I'm looking through them, and I'm like, well, what are you going to change offensively or whatever and coming from a state champion, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of change this year, philosophy-wise or game plan-wise moving through the season.
No, we don't very often, just because I believe, tradition and consistency and teaching a kid in 7th grade, start teaching them in 7th and 8th grade makes our job a whole lot easier by the time they get to be juniors and seniors. So we're always going to base out of an even front, what we call our 4-3 defense. We've been doing it now for 11 years, 12 years. And we ain't going to change from that, not until it's broke. You know,
Yeah.
offensively, we're going to be a run-first team. You know, probably 60-40 to be honest with you, maybe 70-30. It just depends on how Cason's throwing the ball and we're catching that night. But we're going to lean on the run heavy, and we're always going to run the same blocking schemes up front. And Coach Anderley and Coach Wheeler have done a great job adding some schemes off of those things we do up front that we didn't do back in 17 or 16. And it's made us a little bit more dynamic and probably a little bit better on offense. Well, I know it's made it better on offense. So, no, we don't change a lot, man. We're going to do things consistent, how we do them year after year, and we're going to start it in 7th grade, and we're going to try to teach those guys so it makes their job easier as they get older.
Yeah, so I did notice that one thing. I mean, when you say that, it's like, no, we're going to stick to it. And you guys do such a great job of teaching the kids that that's what they're going to do. One thing that stuck out to me at the state game, which, by the way, thanks again for allowing me to go to that. That was an awesome experience for me. But your kids seemed like pretty outsized, like your offensive line. Yeah. And what stuck out to me was they knew their job, though, and they knew what they needed to do. They're not, I think, number 3. Who was number 3?
Number 3 is Caden Clement. Yeah, he's 6'3", 180.
Yeah, super skinny kid, but did his job, held his block.
Yes.
He knows he's not going to hold him for 5-10 seconds, but he knew that he needed to get there, do his job.
No, he had a job. He had to seal the edge on something, whatever it was. Yeah.
And I remember the post game, and you were talking about that in one of the post game interviews, and so that just really stuck out to me because the kid lined up across from him was a lot bigger and a lot stronger. Yeah. So I don't know, it just really stuck out to me that's kind of the philosophy and the idea behind it.
So I wanted to put this on our show. Wanted to mention this. Dave Campbell, y'all got it wrong. It should have been Muenster. They got that cover. They should have
put Muenster on there.
They should have put my boy. Yeah. I was like, come on there. I said, come on, Dave Campbell. Like, because they had
put this on here.
How they tricked me because I thought because all week they had been advertising Muenster. They was like, who's gonna be it? But it was a picture. I was like, oh, so it's gonna be. And then I was like, then they released it. I said, come on, man, why it couldn't be? But that's this.
You gotta give Solana that shout out, man.
I can understand Solana, but next year after Muenster wins, just because I'm saying
easy
it
now. Slow down.
Put him on there, man.
So, Coach, you talked about him. You just mentioned his name.
Like this case.
Yeah. Cason's coming back for us at quarterback.
Sure.
Let's talk about him a little bit. Well, obviously he's your son, but was it? I saw you guys embrace on the sideline after the state championship game. Was it like? I mean, he was there to watch Muenster win their first title.
Yes.
And now, or he won it again for his junior season. So how was that going through that season with him?
Man, it's awesome. I'll tell you a story though. I was still calling offense when he was a freshman.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to hand him the job as a freshman, so I made him and some a couple other guys, another guy compete for it, and I finally gave him the job. I guess probably week 4. So played a couple games, then he got his ankle broke, so he didn't get to finish the season. But in those few games, I could tell that me and him probably weren't going to gel real well. Me calling offense and him being the quarterback. So at that point, I stepped away after that season. That's when I let Coach Wheeler and Coach Anderley take over. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to be that guy on him all the time as much as what I was his freshman year. It probably wasn't fun for him back then. So I took a step back. So I kind of went over to the defensive side more than I am on the offensive side. I try to help Coach Johnson more now, and it allows me to watch and help where I can. But I let Coach Wheeler and Coach Anderley do the talking to him more than I did back then. But being able to share that with him, like you said, he's grown up. I'm very fortunate with the ability to stay in one place as long as I have. As a coach, that can be tough. So he's grown up in Muenster. He started school there, and him and Nolan and Kyle, Rhett, Jake, Simon. They've been with each other forever. And watching them play as young kids, and even on the sideline, like you talked about earlier, having the pictures back in 17, grow up to be Muenster Hornets, and knowing that that's always been a dream of theirs. And to some people, they're like, well, why do you dream of a state championship? It doesn't mean it doesn't mean exactly, people don't get what it means to us and our families that live it every day, and we've lived it for 25 years for me, and then for him all 18 years. But to share it with him, and then Addie, who's a cheerleader behind me, and, of course, Brandy's been there with me the whole time. But to see Casey have the success that he had, not as an individual by any means, but as a team and a teammate with those guys that he's grown up with was, it's just tremendous, and it's one of those things as a dad you kind of dream of as a high school football coach.
So
For sure.
piggybacking off of that, we had Coach Hubble in here the other day, and his son just graduated high school.
Yeah.
What are you going to take into this his senior season? You two guys last year together.
Sure, man, just enjoy every moment. We're trying to enjoy it right now during the summer. Every day's the last, Like last night was his last ever summer league basketball game in Alvord. And I've watched those guys play together over there, summer league basketball, since they were in 7th grade. And every time every time you do something, it's that last time. So, hopefully we're selling out. We're doing everything we can to go repeat, and that's what we're trying to emphasize more than anything. Just, man, we're just going to enjoy every moment we can together. And there's going to be times where we don't enjoy it. There's going to be times where, Dad gets mad because I don't believe his effort's what it should be.
Yep.
And that's the main thing, because he's a talented dude playing with talented dudes. But his effort's got to be there every day, because that's the only way you can get better. You can't take days off.
So, Coach, how many state titles do you have? Rings now do you have?
I got 2 for football.
Uh-huh.
And then we won, actually my last year in Lindsay, 2010. I was the head boys track coach in Lindsay, and we won track that year.
Okay.
And then we won state baseball in 17 and state basketball in 17.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
But he got me. But how many do you have?
I got all of them.
You don't have. I just was. We have something in common that these two guys.
I got one.
So we
Thanks
so
on the sideline.
in certain conversations they don't get to participate.
So,
in. So
because you won one at Everman, right?
I won 2.
Yeah, we won 2. Yes.
Yeah, and these guys. Never mind, Coach. We're not gonna do them.
Hey, I don't have one as a player though.
Yeah.
But you know what's cool about Coach Johnson, Wes, and Quentin Barron? They played on the 96-97 Windthorst team that won it. So they have one as a player and a coach now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
I thought
that
that's
is
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah.
So, Coach, let's go a little deeper into this year.
Okay.
So let's talk about this year's schedule. Let's start with your non-district, how that schedule is going to look, and kind of how you guys are preparing for your non-district right now, and then follow up with your district schedule and things
And
like
the only
that.
way we can prepare is to get to work, because we got the same schedule we had last year, and we play some really good teams. Our scrimmages are Jacksboro and you guys at City View, 2 very talented teams year in and year out. Then we open the season against Lake Country, who's a competitive private school. And after that, that's, and we get into the holidays. And Holiday and Windthorst, I'm telling you right now, Windthorst is going to be one of the top teams in our region. They are going to be a really talented football team this year. They got a lot of kids back. They're all juniors and seniors. Had some success last year, and they're just going to feed off of it. Windthorst is going to be really stout, really good football team. Then we got Pottsboro, like I said, who's always a really tough 3A Division I team. And De Leon is going to compete in that Region 2, 2A Division I region. They're going to compete to win it. Got a really good group back. And then roll into our district, which is tough, man. Lindsay's got probably one of the better athletes around in Lane Foster at quarterback, which makes them very dangerous. Collinsville is just, man, they're gaining confidence every year. Winning state and baseball back-to-back. Football's been, regional finals, so state quarterfinals for 3 years in a row, I think. So every year they gain a little confidence. And then, of course, you guys have been around long enough and know enough that Region 2, Division 2 is it's one of the top dogs, man, top to bottom. Windthorst, Collinsville, us, Lindsay, Albany, Wheeler's going to be good. Wellington, it's going to be a dogfight in Region 2. But no, man, our schedule is very tough. And like I said earlier, I thought our kids handled the 2 losses that they took last year better than we have in the past. We didn't get down from it. We learned from it. We knew we could compete at our level, at a high level, when we were able to compete with Holiday and Pottsboro. And we didn't get down. We didn't mope into the next week. We got back to work on that Monday and came out and had a good showing the following weeks. But, man, our schedule's tough.
Yeah, so talking about that, something that you typically don't, and I know you being a coach, I remember our coach used to say this to us all the time. When you end up having to play a team twice, it's hard to beat the team the second time.
It is.
You had a dogfight with Collinsville last year during district play.
Yeah.
And then you guys played them in the playoffs, and it's like you guys over-prepped. Like you guys were more than ready for that game, and it was just like a bloodbath. You guys came out, got on them, and you stayed on them the entire time. How difficult is it to know, having somebody like that, an opponent in your district that's that good, knowing that you're going to, you're playing them in district play,
Sure.
but knowing that you're going to have to possibly meet up with them down the road. Not that you're trying to hold anything back from in the district games, but how do you game plan for that, knowing that there's a possibility of seeing that team down the road?
I don't think you change anything. At least we don't. I mean, we're going to win a football game. Whatever we got to do to win that football game,
Yep.
and that's how we approach it. And the night we played Collinsville, man, we played at their place, and it was a really good football game. It was wet field conditions, and it was muddy and nasty, and just two good football teams that played, a good football game. And I knew at that point that would probably be who we saw in the regional finals. And I ain't gonna lie to you, like you said, I didn't want to play them again. You dread that moment, but I don't think our kids did. As coaches we did, but I'm telling you, I don't think our kids ever thought for a minute that they didn't have an opportunity to go to go beat them again. And hey, I'll take that any day. When your kids believe, I never had any doubt that we could do it, but at the same time, we are concerned, especially playing a good football team for the second time.
I got a question about I got a twofold question.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Stole that from Big O. Your game versus Lindsay.
Okay.
What's the name of that game again?
That's Crowd Bowl.
I think
Crowd
that's,
Bowl.
I think that's
Crowd
one
Bowl.
of the greatest
Yeah. Yeah.
rivalry nickname games.
I didn't get to go to it last year. I was upset because we talked so
Yeah.
much about it,
Yeah.
talked it up.
I looked
So
it
it's
up.
in Munster this year.
It's in Munster this year. Yeah,
right.
East Germany versus West Germany, whatever you want to say. Crowd Bowl, yeah, they got all kinds of names for it.
And so my next question is, you guys finally got over, like you said, you beat Collinsville, but finally got over the hump of Albany.
Yeah.
So now you're not being the hunter, you're the hunted.
We
now,
are,
Now,
yes.
what's been the mentality maybe going through the summer of having that target on you guys' back?
That's exactly what we say. We do have the target on our back, and we're going to get everybody's best. It don't matter if it's Holiday, Pottsboro, it don't matter De Leon, Lindsay, Collinsville, it don't matter. Whoever we play, like you said, we have that target on our back, and we're going to get everybody's best effort. Now, with that said, if you can take care of stuff early, a lot of times teams fold because they do realize who the better football team is. But if you let somebody hang around, you're going to give them that opportunity, and who knows. But you got to jump on them early, man. But, no, we are the hunted now, and everybody's going to be out to get us, and we're going to get everybody's best effort.
So my next question, Coach, for you, when we came out to the game, when you guys played Grover, first thing that I noticed was shout out to the community of Muenster first. This is going along with my question. We walked up, they made us feel so special.
Yeah.
It was like it's like the grandpas. They were like they sit at the drink coffee and watch the podcast. They was like, there goes the guys.
The tunnel crew, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the tunnel
They was
crew.
like, there goes. I was like, who they talking about? Then they was like, y'all, man. They was like, man, we watch all of the shows,
Yeah.
man. We appreciate it. And I was like, and then I
Made
seen
O
that.
feel like a celebrity.
He
Yeah,
did.
I'm borderline. I be signing autographs sometimes. Then I seen all of the people, how they line up, everybody there. So what has this meant for the city of Muenster, the community of bringing another state title back to Muenster, and how has it pulled the community to be even tighter than it's been?
I don't know if it can get any tighter. I think that's what makes us special. We've got parents that they raise their kids, and this is my opinion, they raise them the right way to work hard. Let's say we average 90 boys in our summer conditioning each morning, and that's between junior high and high school. But for a school our size, we probably got 105 in athletics, but 90 of them show up every day.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they're done there, most of them go work an 8-hour day somewhere because those are the expectations. They don't go home and sit and play games or sit by the pool or whatever. They take off and they go work, and that's how they're raised. So, answering your question, it's always been a tight-knit place, and we have support. Like you were talking about in Groover, we go out to warm up an hour before the game, hour and a half, and there's already people sitting in the bleachers trying to find their spot and get ready to roll. And we have that support year round. But no, they enjoy it, they embrace it, and now all I hear is, are we going to do it again? That's their expectations now. So, man, we're trying. We're going to work to get there.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I like your chances. We won't jinx anything
Sure,
like we talked
sure.
about. Knock on wood, whatever you say. So you touched on it briefly. Summer workouts. A lot of people say that's where it starts for the season. Sounds like it's important. Sounds like you guys have a ton of attendance there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome to have that many kids there. Out of that many, will you touch on your summer program just real
Sure.
quick? See.
Honestly, for a lot of guys, it starts in January and February. And for some of our guys that don't participate in football, that's when it does start heavy. Now, with a lot of our skill guys, I'm going to use Kaysen and Garrett and Caden Clement, number 3, and those guys. We won a state championship on Wednesday night, got back home at 12:30, in bed by 2, back at school the next morning at 8, and then they had basketball practice at 12, at noon as soon as school was out. And you look in there and, there's 20 football guys in there practicing basketball 12 hours after they won a state championship.
Ooh.
So a lot of those guys, like, Case and Garrett and those guys, they don't get to go through a full off season because they go from football to basketball, straight into track, straight into baseball. So this is a really big time for them. But it is for all of us, and we've emphasized it. It's one of the first things I started emphasizing back in 2010, and man, our numbers have grown year after year. And like I said, we do about 90 to 100 kids a day, boys, in our program, and that's a lot for a school our size. Where in high school we've got 165 kids, total. Our girls average 50 to 60 girls, and we got 90 to 100 boys every day. So our participation's been great for a lot of years, and it continues to be there. I think tradition goes a long way. Those are the expectations. For our guys that have grown up, our hometown kids that have been there forever, they watched those teams that I was fortunate enough to have in 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, state semifinals, state championships, quarterfinal appearances year after year after year, and that's the expectations. And they know that they don't want to be the class that fails. So they know the expectations are to work, and they get up there and work, and I think that's what makes it special.
Sound like whenever you hire your head basketball coach, you tell him don't plan on putting a schedule together until after.
Yeah, that's Coach Cabot's always griping, man. Yeah, he's always griping. He's always, because as a basketball coach, you try to get probably a tournament in around Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and you get
early December.
Coach Cabot, he's struggling to try to find 3 tournaments, and he's not scheduling games. He's like, man, I ain't gonna schedule any games. So like the second week of December, I was like, well, if you want to schedule them. Just know, let those guys know. Hopefully, we will be canceling. On you guys,
yeah. So Coach, I'm gonna ask I have a last question. My segment on the show is the Big O Special. First and foremost, shout out to Coach. He brought us some good old summer sausage from Fisher.
You bet.
And then we also got some smoked cheddar cheese. So, coaches, right now,
this is the expectation.
Am I up here?
Yeah, he's number one. He
number one.
Number one state title.
I was about to say he's state champ.
We're gonna eat a little bit of this on the show while we're talking to him.
As you should.
But my question to you, if you can remember back to that, we want to know what was the meal that you had prior to going to state. Like, what was the meal that you guys fed the boys? When you guys traveled down, because I think y'all had a night game, right?
We did. So yeah, I can tell you the meal. We went to Outback this year.
Okay.
On the way down.
All right.
And in 17, it was like Texas Roadhouse or something, another steak place. But we went down and stayed on Wednesday night. But yeah, man, I try to do our best to feed the boys good before we go down.
Y'all are the place that you said that y'all have like before the game. Sometimes they'll cook them steaks or team dinner type thing.
So
like
they have a team dinner on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
And the further you go, usually the more emphasis they put on the
bro,
type
how
of
you gonna
food
eat a piece of before me? And this
because
is
he grabbed it. And
this is my segment.
You handed it to me, bro. What do you want me to do?
You are something else.
Here's what y'all are not listening. He said they feed them before. So we were at the state semi. We need to get there earlier.
Yeah.
No. Now on Thursday night. So
on Thursday
all
night.
throughout the year they'll have a team meal on Thursday night. But it's funny because the further they go in the playoffs, it seems like those teams will get a little bit better. Yeah. May get hot dogs and cheeseburgers early in the season, then it just starts getting better if you play better.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
He
pass that down to Big O, man.
He can't even host. He over here eating.
Ask the question. I don't want to eat my food on the camera anymore.
What?
Hey, Fishers, if you guys haven't been to Fishers, all jokes aside, anytime we talk about anything, things like that, it's always a blessing to shout those guys out. This is not last time Jeff was there. He brought some sausage and different stuff back. It was amazing. It's good food, good people, good community. So shout out to Fishers and what they do.
You want some of this, Coach?
No, I'm good, man. I get plenty. I get plenty.
Good old summer sausage, so it's good. So shout out. But again, Coach, that's the only last question I have for you. Appreciate you for coming on the show.
You bet.
I don't know if these guys got anything else for you.
I got one more. I'll just, this is kind of more of a personal question. My daughter, she'll be a senior this year as well. So
I saw her play last year.
Yeah.
Came over. Yeah, you
Oh,
came
yeah,
over.
yeah.
Yeah, spring. Yeah, you came
Yeah.
over.
Okay. What are some of the things that you think you might be doing a little differently this year, having the senior, whether
As far
throughout
as
the
me,
year, or are you? I mean, I don't know. Just any kind of differences you anticipate with him being a senior?
man, I don't think so. I think
Sit back
you've
and
been
relax.
through it. Yeah,
And,
you've been through. I've been through it. You know, you realize it's kind of coming to an end. You remember, you know, I'm sure your daughter plays like basketball, whatever, and y'all just, you know, you went and went and went, and looking back, you know, you were probably at times you're like, man, I'm just kind of tired. You know, I'm tired. Looking back, shoot, those are some of the best moments. You know, and then you realize that, hey, we're getting to the point now where it's fixing to be over, and they're fixing to be men and women, and probably going to lose dad and mom for a little while and then come back to us as they get older. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to cherish every moment. And, you know, the crazy thing is I also got Coach Wheeler with Jake. He'll be a senior, you know, number 1. Simon Johnson, number 0. That's Wes's boy. He'll be a senior. Braxton Barron, you know, he'll be a freshman. So Quentin still gets to live it for 4 more years.
Yeah.
But me and Wes and Josh, yeah, we're kind of, you know, those are our last boys and coming through. So, you know, there's, like I said earlier, there's still going to be some moments where we don't disagree, you know, where we don't agree with each other. For the most part, man, I'm just going to cherish as much of it as I can. As soon as football's over, hopefully, you know, we finish somewhere at the top, move on to basketball and cherish all those games. And then I'm hoping I can get him to run track. So, you know, he's a 300 hurdler, so I'm hoping I can get him out there and run 300 hurdles. But he's already said, Dad, I don't know, man. I may just want to run some relays or something. But just try to cherish every moment. And I try to do that this year and every year. But, no, you just realize it's all coming to an end.
yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that's all we can do.
That's it, man.
Is just
Yeah.
sit back and try to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Evan, you good? You got more questions? Or?
No, Coach. It's great, and wish you guys the best
Appreciate
this
it.
upcoming year. Staying healthy, and like you said, you and your son and your other coach's son. Sounds like you did a good job of.
I did good. I
gathering
hired
coaches.
well, man.
There you go.
I hired well. I did. But I did hear y'all talk to Coach Sherrill, and I did want to talk about the dog part because that's what I call most kids dogs.
Yeah.
But I did work with a guy in Prosper, Alfonso Williams. He played safety with Dion at Florida State. His name was Cat, so he called everybody Cat, you know. And then some people call them dudes.
Yep.
But for us, I don't know. I settled on dogs at some point in time, and that's what I call
He's
them.
a dog.
Yeah, you're a dog. I had a kid in 17, Carson Chaney, great player, and he started an interview for some reason. Somebody was interviewing him. He kept going through all the players. Clay Stevens, he's a dog. You know, Kagan Dangelmeyer, he's a dog.
He's a dog.
So
Yeah.
ever since then, it just kind of settled on dog.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
That's what's
Well,
up.
again, thanks so much for coming out and making the trip. Thanks even more for bringing us
You bet.
the sausage and cheese. We appreciate you. We wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it.
Sounds like there's only one way to go out with all these coaches and all these seniors.
Yeah.
So end on a good one, hopefully.
Try to.
And
We'll try to.
yeah, we wish you the best of luck. We're
Yeah.
pulling for you. And if you ever need anything from us, let us know.
Y'all do a fantastic job, and as y'all know, the people in Muenster appreciate it, and everybody else does too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You bet.
Coach. Have a good